I thought it was going to be a normal Thursday. I was packing my bag after my psychology class when my professor asked me to stay behind for a minute. His voice sounded serious, and the moment the classroom emptied, I felt a strange knot form in my stomach. I had no idea that conversation would completely change the rest of my semester. I wasn't a troublemaker. My grades were good, I attended every lecture, and I rarely spoke in class. That's why I couldn't understand why he wanted to see me privately. As I walked toward his office later that afternoon, I kept replaying every assignment and exam in my head, wondering if I had done something wrong. When I arrived, he closed the door and pulled out a folder. Inside were copies of several essays submitted by students over the past few years. Then he placed my latest paper on top of them. My heart started racing. At first, I thought he was accusing me of plagiarism, but what he said next was far stranger. He pointed to a specific paragraph in my essay and asked where I had gotten the story. I told him it was something my grandmother used to tell me when I was a child. His face immediately changed. He sat back in his chair and stared at me for several seconds without saying a word. Finally, he opened one of the older essays in the folder. The exact same story was written there almost word for word. The paper had been submitted 6 years earlier by a student named Emily Carter. I didn't know anyone by that name, and I told him so. That's when he asked a question that made my skin crawl. "Are you related to her?" I shook my head. As far as I knew, I wasn't. The professor looked genuinely shocked. He explained that Emily had been one of his brightest students, but she suddenly dropped out midway through the semester and disappeared. No one ever found out what happened to her. That night, curiosity got the better of me. I searched for Emily online and found an old university photo. The moment I saw it, I nearly dropped my phone. She looked almost exactly like me, not just similar, almost identical. Even my roommate thought it was a picture of me at first glance. Over the next week, I dug deeper. Eventually, I mentioned Emily's name to my grandmother during a phone call. There was a long silence on the other end. Then she quietly admitted something my family had hidden for years. Emily wasn't a stranger. She was my mother's older sister. According to my grandmother, Emily had run away from home after a major family conflict. Nobody had heard from her since. The story I included in my essay wasn't just a random childhood tale, it was a story Emily herself used to tell before she vanished. Somehow, it had been passed down through the family without anyone mentioning her name. A month later, I received an email from an unfamiliar address. It contained only one sentence: "Tell Grandma I'm sorry I left." There was no signature, no explanation, and no way to reply. I still don't know who sent it, but my grandmother cried when she read it. To this day, I wonder whether Emily finally found a way to reach us, or if someone else knows a secret that our family still hasn't uncovered.